Thank you for joining the first edition of Journalist Hangout this week. I'm Ayodele Uzubakun. Today on the program, Buhari orders immediate disengagement of Abdurrashid Maina. Kogi director commits suicide, owed a 10-month salary. 12 years after Southern governors meet in Lagos, I'll be hanging out with Babajide Kolade Otitoju, Emeka Madunagu. And if you are ready, let the hangout start now.
My name is Abdullahi Umar Ganuji, the governor of Kano State. I do watch journalists hang out. I don't miss it. I ask you, please don't miss it. Thank you.
Thank you for joining us. Today, many are shocked at what is happening in Nigeria. Last week, the former chairman of the Presidential Pension Reform Task Force, that's Abdurrashid Maina, was reinstated into the Federal Civil Service. This event froze every atom of confidence that many had in this government. Maina is a fugitive. He was accused of corruption in 2013. He fled the country. In 2015, the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC, placed him on a wanted list of international police. Just when many thought Maina would be arrested, he was unceremoniously reinstated into the civil service. This afternoon, President Muhammadu Buhari ordered the immediate disengagement of Maina and ordered investigation into the process that reinstated him. What is happening here? A lot of Nigerians will not understand the import of what we're seeing because there's something about our psyche here. Anytime an event happens, a lot of people would have forgotten about it. There's always a background to this event. So I want Jide, please give us a comprehensive background. The only thing a lot of people is this mob mentality. They've joined the Facebook war, joined the Twitter war, and they've been bashing the administration of Muhammadu Buhari in the last 48 hours. But most of them, they don't have the background. Jide, who is Abdurrashid Maina?
In 2011, 2012, if there was any Nigerian that really made me proud to be a Nigerian, it had to be Abdurrashid Maina.
Are you for real?
Yes, because Maina showed himself to be of a rare breed in terms of the way he went about his work. He showed himself to be a patriot in terms of the way he identified corruption and saved his country so much money.
What was his work?
He was made the chairman of the presidential tax team and on pensions. And what his duty was to sanitize the pension system and identify corruption in the system. So it was the former head of service, Oronsai,
Steve.
yes, that constituted that committee. Remember that Oronsai was given the mandate of reforming the civil service. He came up, he did an excellent job, but the powerful PAMSECs, powerful people in Nigeria, ensured that till date,
Yes.
that his work has not, the reform has not been implemented.
They had to rope him.
We have a situation in which a PAMSEC remains in one position for up to 15 years. He ensures that others do not grow. And he said, let PAMSECs be tenured. So that once you leave, someone else steps in, and then people can rise. Yes, people can rise because a lot of people end up as directors. They are unable to move because there's no vacancy. A PAMSEC stays there. That's just one strand of the reform initiatives that Oronsai came up with. And predictably, they went for him. They lied against him that Oronsai stole billions. You see, the tragedy of our people is that when they hear that this person stole money, They do not want to know whether it is true or not. Everybody believes it, including even the media. The Nigerian media that has lost the capacity to ask questions. You know? So Oronsaye, you know, I've said it repeatedly. I said, the day Oronsaye is taken to court, he will be free, because I knew they would lie against the old man. Another part of Maina's case, you know, Maina and Oronsaye were charged together, but this person was not in the country. But for the same offense, they claimed that that Oronsaye, that they were told, even the EFCC claimed that it was told that Oronsaye was taking money from those who were stealing pension funds. But they got to court. They could not prove it. The case was dismissed.
Couldn't substantiate
the case was dismissed. It was a no-case submission that his lawyer, because Oronsaye's lawyer was looking at them. These people could not even adduce concrete evidence.
After everything that has happened.
After all these years.
They
humiliated him. Look, I was telling someone, I said in Nigeria today, if they say, oh, Jide Titoju stole 10 billion. Even when I get cleansed of the crime, people will still be looking at me like a thief.
Yes.
That's what happened to Dibeji Bankole. How many people remember that he went to court and he defeated the EFCC?
He has been cleared.
In most cases, they will so thoroughly disgrace the EFCC in court that the EFCC will not even be able to appeal. Yet, people will still see those people as thieves. You know, in the case of Maina, why it bothers me so much? Because I know that in Nigeria, when you want to fight corruption, they've shown it with the case. Why must it be? Oronsaye's crime was because he was the one who set up that presidential tax team. He was the one who began the reform, and they did not like the outcome of the reform. So they had to find a way. It's easy to roll people into, so because how does the EFCC come up with its cases? They rely chiefly on petitions. So once those petitions come, they say, okay, you did this. They will now be looking for evidence. Now, in the case of Maina, when Maina began this work, within a short time, pension thieves were identified. It started in the head of services office. The success recorded so impressed Okonjo-Iweala that they got the then head of service, Afolabi, to extend Maina's work. Maina now went into the police pension office, home of fraud, police pension office. That was where people like Dangaba and others were arrested. Yusuf, the one, remember Yusuf, who pleaded guilty to about 22 billion naira theft and then got a little fine just to go to, to be freed. I think that judge eventually, the NJC, has sacked the judge who gave him that fine. There was a woman amongst them whom the EFCC, who told the EFCC that she was prepared to bribe them. And the woman invited the EFCC to Sheraton Hotel in Abuja and gave them a bribe of about 70 million. Right from, she opened the trunk of her car and gave them the bribe, and then she was arrested. So many people were stealing through pension. And this man came. When I was going through some of his work, I discovered that Maina discovered 73,000 ghost pension accounts. 73,000 in less than a year. In fact, the work that I was supposed to do at the police pension office was just for about 3 months. And he discovered billions stolen. Then he confiscated 281 properties from officials of the pension scheme. He recovered 221 billion from pension thieves, 221 billion naira. In fact, Okonjo-Iweala, and anybody who can go to Google will find that Okonjo-Iweala admitted that out of these 221 billion that Maina recovered, that they inserted 74 billion into the 2012 budget.
All right.
So now it's like the hunter. They've turned against the hunter. Today, the tragedy of it all is that whether Maina has stolen money or not, people are not talking about people like Shuaibu Teidi, who was the director of pension in the head of service office, whom they found 4 billion naira cash in his house, whom they seized filling stations, houses in Lokoja and other areas. Yeah. People don't talk about them anymore. People don't talk about Yusuf. And once they talk about pension fund, it's just Maina. We will look at even the sums of money, and in my view, why Maina should have remained here to face his trial. Because I'm convinced that if he had faced his trial the same way that Baba Orunsaye was freed, he would have been freed. But why he chose not to stay here is an answer that only he can
I wanted
provide.
to say only the guilty, are afraid, and he left the country. The Senate ordered his arrest, and I think he had to leave the country. He said for the fear of his life, but there's no smoke without fire. Mm-hmm. Is Maina? Is he a saint?
Yeah. Well. Since the matter was investigated and taken to court, the process should have run through. Even if he fled, the process was not concluded. And then the most intriguing thing is that he came back to the country. Is that we now hear that he has been reinstated, even while the allegations against him have not been thoroughly, addressed. So the issue is actually a big embarrassment because, like Bikil said, somebody who was charged along with him, Oronsai, the matter ran its course to the end. But right now, Maina's case has not run its course to the end. And then you're talking of reinstating him. And we're talking of pensions. The enormity of fraud in pensions in Nigeria is actually mind-boggling. And so you don't treat such a matter lightly. You need to really deal with it. You need to look at all the ramifications of that matter before it's concluded. So I think that should have been the focus, because the EFCC says that this man, is still a fugitive, is wanted. He bought a house of $2 million. They have allegations against him, weighty allegations against him. Yes, like Jide said, he did well here, he did well here. But the issue is that, you see, it appears that there are certain sectors in Nigeria that even the most righteous person will find it hard to remain righteous if he or she, is put in such a place. Talking about pensions. Look at all, somebody having 4 billion naira cash in a wardrobe, for crying out loud. How many banks, how many bank branches can you go to and you see 4 billion naira in their vaults? So what I'm talking about is that, you see, it's also part of what people have been talking about EFCC, the way EFCC conducts its business. You should make sure you deal with all the angles totally, and then be on the lookout. Because if not for Premium Times that revealed this and that exposed this thing, possibly he would have quietly slipped in, and it would have been, he would have lived happily ever after. But thank God for the expose, that now led to this fresh round of criticism. So I believe EFCC should actually wake up on this matter and activate the arrest warrant. I don't think this man has disappeared to Mars or Pluto. He's somewhere. So definitely EFCC should activate that international arrest warrant, bring him, get him extradited, and then let the court case run to the end. But the EFCC should be sure it has its case cut and dried. So it's not after saying, oh, the man did this, he bought houses, he did this and that, and then you come down only for some technical issues to make a mess of your case.
Actually, when you look at, what's the name? The way it was reinstated, I don't know the procedure. But after 2 years or so, after the tension had died down, I don't think they were expecting, if it's not the outcry of the public and the expose of Premium Times, I don't think that would have gone. Because somebody told me that somebody like Ibrahim Lamode that was accused at the point in time, accusation, which does not necessarily transform to
indictment, yes.
Special fraud unit.
Yes.
That is the commissioner in charge of special fraud unit in Lagos.
Yeah.
And a lot of people say, wow, they didn't know. He has been very quiet there and everything. So Maina was reinstated. What were those yardstick? And under the Ministry of Internal Affairs. And did they think they could have gotten away with something like that without raising public scrutiny?
I don't know. I believe the strategy was right. Maina should have offered himself for trial, because I'm convinced that he will have won the case. Because if you are talking, I was reading Premium Times and they were saying that he presided over the looting of 100 billion. And I'm like, what is wrong with us? Because even the EFCC charge does not talk about 100 billion. What they are saying is that, he spent about 260 million on 20 individuals that they verified through biometric means. That was outside Nigeria. And what Maina said is the expenditure that 86 people who traveled with them on that trip, that the money spent on those people was part of the 260 million. Other things that they said, that they accused him of, was that he told his secretary to write blank checks and all that. Some of these things you cannot prove because I don't know how you can prove those things. And then when you say that people are stealing for him, how do you prove that? Because it was part of what they said about Oronsai, that the judge, so people are stealing for him, that you believe that the money that was stolen, that they were giving him some of the money. You can't go to a court and begin to argue like that. So we are talking about something 260 million here, and that they also that withdrew 100 million in the name of collective allowances for staff. Those are the grounds. You can see hefty money being mentioned, but when you look at the body of the charge sheet, look at it, yes. I'm telling you that this is what is there. So what we are even talking about now is nowhere near the ridiculous figure of 100 billion that Premium Times quoted. I'm saying that the point that I'm making is, in this case, the same way the old man, Oronsaye, who was charged along with him, submitted himself for trial. Yes, it lasted years. But the man was vindicated. He was freed. I expected Maina to have done that, because at the end of the day, when you do that, you could be vindicated. And when you are vindicated, the good things that you have done for your country, people will remember. But for now, the way it is so shameful. I'm personally ashamed that when you talk about pension funds, pension thieves, the names of Jagaba, Yusuf, Teidi, their names don't come up. And that's exactly what they wanted. Because he fought them. Who were the people who protested? The petition that the EFCC acted upon was from the police pension office, because they accused him of exceeding his, what was it called? Going beyond his brief in doing his work. So at the end of the day, yes, mistakes have been made. Maina made mistakes, but I don't know why he said his life was in danger. He actually faced the Senate. Not that he didn't face the Senate at all. Really? Because I remember on one occasion, he went with big Ghana must go back with documents. He actually faced the Senate. But at a point, he felt that he would not get justice. And because he felt he would not get justice,
so he wasn't attending the sittings.
The other sittings of that ad hoc committee led by Silvano Setu, he stopped attending. And there was even a rumor, or that I didn't verify, that on a particular occasion, Shuaibu Teidi and the chairman of that Senate panel left the premises of the National Assembly in the same car. I don't know how true is that, but it was a dominant story at that time. And the guy felt he would not get. Remember, even Jonathan was reluctant. Because how do you tell a president whom someone recovered more than 221 billion for him to sack that fellow? They were reluctant. They didn't want to do it. Even the IG didn't want to do it. It's strange. But this is Nigeria. And if you want to fight corruption, you can be ready. You should be ready for corruption to also fight back. It happened to what's this man's name? Tam David West, the best oil minister Nigeria has ever produced.
Yeah.
The moment Babangida took over, because of his extreme loyalty to Buhari, they turned against him. Tam David West never stole a dime. But they accused him of corruption, they put him on trial. One thing is certain. If judges would do their job well, you will find that a lot of people put on trial for corruption, political trials. They would get justice at the end of the day. People, after all, people like Hassan Lawal and the rest, even the judges abused the EFCC and accused them of not doing their work. Abdulaziz, Murtala, and Yako in recent times. So I believe that Maina should have come home to face his trial. And if he came home because he's ready to face trial now, I believe that the first thing shouldn't be to first go and put him in an office. He should be ready to face trial the same way that his boss, Orosaye, faced trial and the courts cleared him. So that's the mistake that I think was made. They shouldn't have installed him as a head of human resources somewhere. They should have allowed him since he has come home. Since he has come home, it means that he wants to face the trial.
Discharged.
So face your trial.
If they don't have evidence.
First things first. At the end of the day, if the courts clear him, the courts will cost government to pay him all that he had lost. Because even the president cannot just sack anyone. Obasanjo did it with Zachary Biu. And Zachary Biu went to court. He defeated the government, and they brought him back to the police more than 8 years after.
But there's this pattern that we spoke earlier. Maybe because of the way EFCC was started off in 2004 and everything. It's more of a perceived media thing. You see, anytime they are taking accused to courts, they get in touch with journalists, photojournalists, especially if the person is celebrated, accused and everything, so that they can take your photograph and everything. That automatically has turned the public perception against you, or will turn, because they will feel that, oh, he's a corrupt person. But many times, by the time they now get over the case with, you now discover that, okay, look at the case of Bode George. But a lot of Nigerians are still calling Bode George an ex-convict.
Whereas he's no longer an ex-convict.
The truth of the matter is the Supreme Court, the highest court in the land, he was discharged. But this thing is still there. Why are we like that?
Well, it's it's not about why are we like that, but basically it's about the power of information. The power of communication is very strong, and definitely, the EFCC wants to be seen to be doing its work well. So it employs the media, to help it really
hype.
Will you call it hype? But on the other hand, the EFCC is also not dealing with it's not dealing with petty thieves, Now, find every suspect is presumed innocent until the court proves him or her guilty. But the other thing you need to know is that there are some of these suspects who are very powerful. So I'm not holding brief for EFCC, I don't work for them. But I think maybe, to some extent, it may be for them to help their cases succeed so that perception does not tilt against their case and then spoil a persecution. But again, they should be guided in the way they conduct some of these things in the media.
All right. When we return, tragedy in Kogi as level 16 civil servant commits suicide. I'll be back after this time out. It's still Journalist Hangout. Join us again. Welcome back. This is your groundbreaking program of the year, Journalist Hangout. We're reaching you live from Lagos, Nigeria, and we are looking at the removal or reinstatement of Abdul Rashid Maina. And the latest information we have gathered now is that the president has just ordered the Maina should just be disengaged immediately, and they wanted to probe, the president wants to probe and get a better view on why he was reinstated. Babajide, our last take on this.
Yes, the president's decision is right, because he shouldn't have been reinstated before clearing his name.
Because the backlash has
clearing his name. Now, facing the EFCC shouldn't be a big deal. Saleh Dunoma is the man who heads FAN. He was Director of Special Services under Stella Odua's reign, during Stella Odua's reign, and we all remember what happened during that time. The EFCC invited him. He went there, he kept their company. Today, he's back at his job. So the EFCC can invite you, because they invited Maina at that time, but Maina didn't go. So he should now, I suppose that he's in Nigeria now. So my advice to him is to go and face the EFCC, because I know Maina
should go and clear his name.
Go and clear his name. I'm convinced that Maina didn't steal billions as is being reported. I'm very, very convinced. I can stake my honor for that. So let him go and face them. We've seen that before. We've seen people accused of stealing billions, and at the end of the day, they couldn't even bring the evidence to nail such people because they do not have it.
Those allegations.
If your style, I've repeatedly told the EFCC that they should change their style. This style of relying excessively on petitions from people, it doesn't always work. The other day, the person who petitioned them about Suswam, they were looking for him all over the place. So you are dependent on that witness. If you do not see that witness, then you don't have a case. Bafarawa's case, they've been on Bafarawa's case now for years.
Class 1999 to 2007.
Only two witnesses have testified. If the current trend is to continue, Bafara will be on trial up to 2027.
Ridiculous, ridiculous. All right, moving on now. Every action taken, there is certainly a reaction that follows. Now, the act of owing workers' salary and allowances is not new to various state governments in Nigeria. I can tell you that. Neither is the horrifying tales of experience suffered by these workers, strange to any Nigerian. But what is worrisome is a growing trend of suicide by this set of workers or pensioners owed several months. Over the weekend, news of a level 16 officer, quote me, level 16 officer, that person is high up there, in Kogi State, who committed suicide over non-payment of 10 months' salary, dominated the news. This monstrous act has yet again claimed an innocent life. But the Kogi State government has raised dust over his death, claiming that he did not kill himself over unpaid salaries. But workers commit suicide before their grievances are addressed. Now, what we are asking, basically, Emeka, is that is there more to this story that we don't know?
What?
A level 16 officer in any civil service cadre, if somebody is level 16, you're just, waiting to get to level 17 and you're home and dry.
Yeah. It's unfortunate that this kind of a thing happened. Well, the man is dead, so we cannot get to know why, if there are other reasons why he killed himself.
Back to triplets.
That his wife had triplets. Yeah. Okay, fine. The very act of owing people their salaries is heartrending enough. I mean, when a man cannot meet his obligations as the head of the family,
he's not a man.
And then this man has been without children for years. His wife now gave birth to triplets. What? Okay, maybe he got to the hospital and couldn't pay. So, okay, let me ask the state government a question. Okay, didn't kill himself over unpaid salaries. So how was he expected to now take care of his wife's medical bills, take care of the triplets, and maybe other things.
Looking at what will be required
How?
for those children to feed daily.
And then again, do you even know whether the man had a mountain of debts? Because to be owed
over 10
salary for
months.
10 months, they said the man falsified his age. They brought all kinds of the head, I think, is it the secretary to say or the head of service? Said the last time she met with him, he didn't look like he was thinking of taking his life. And I wonder,
How do
people carry such a thing on their heads? That was a very funny statement to make.
Irresponsible statement.
But the other side, the main thing is this: you are owing somebody 10 months. Just owe somebody just 1 month. You know how it is in Nigeria. Look at the times when Labour declares strike. You see the strike actions don't last more than 3 days or so because people want money. There are needs to be taken care of, on a regular basis. Then you now owe somebody 10 months, 8 months. So I understand 21 months.
To be honest.
And you know what? They're going to be borrowing money. They'll be borrowing money from friends, from relatives, from maybe cooperative societies and all that, even maybe from banks. And all these institutions will be on their necks. Asking, the money will be yielding interest. And then, here's a man looking at the wife. The wife has delivered. Maybe he was asked to go and buy something as simple as glucose or go and buy baby milk. And the man just felt heartbroken.
What's the essence?
And went to take his life. Now, you're now looking for a way to turn things around. I feel the state government should just silently use this as a wake-up call and clear whatever backlog. All these defense.
And apologize to his family.
Apologize to the family. Because we don't even know others who have died silently.
Yeah.
We only know of this case maybe because the director. There are others, maybe cleaners, maybe level 1, level 2, who may have died, who may have committed suicide, who may have even died from depression. Who may have had stroke or other kinds of illnesses and died. So it's actually very, very shame. We had discussed this thing on Journalist Hangout, this issue of Kogi State, when one of the officials called in and was giving a kind of a funny defense. And I wonder, I said, listen, the simple thing is this: you are owing these workers. Pay them their money. There's no other excuse to it. Pay them.
Jide, when the governor went to the villa just last week, he was interviewed by the State House correspondent, and the governor said he's just owing just 2 months salary. And I was like, wow.
And another story came up 8 months.
That's he has offset all the backlog, and So the next day, the Nigerian Labour Congress came out and said, Mr. Governor, this is a lie. And from what we are seeing from this man's experience, Jide, in Osun State or in one other state, when they were still owing them salary, we were told that civil servants, they go as much as begging. Some of them, they're even, some of them...
Even stealing food.
Yes, begged the president that, please, this is an IDP.
Kogi NLC and the Trade Union Congress, Nigerian Labour Congress and the Trade Union Congress, wrote to the president. They appealed to the president to send emergency workers, NEMA, to Kogi because they are living like destitute in Kogi now. Life is cheap in Kogi,
British,
because there's really salaries don't get paid. People are suffering. People have taken to farming, but we all know that farming alone cannot get you out of poverty. I've said it repeatedly. It can't get you out of poverty. Especially this subsistence kind of subsistence farming can't get you out of poverty. If that is basically what you're doing, you need to buy things for your children. You need to pay school fees. In Kogi State, the governor thinks that he's doing people a favor by paying their salaries, whereas it's a contract. It's a contract with the staff. The staff must be paid. Once he has worked for that period, he has to be paid. But we have a governor who doesn't even know how to talk. The other day he was saying that Kogi civil servants are suffering because they are not actually civil servants, they are politicians. So because you sense that an overwhelming majority of the civil servants do not like you, so you think that you must punish them. And the question to ask is, the bailouts, because pressure was mounted to ensure that Wada, the former governor, never got the bailout. The documentation for bailout, that 50 billion bailout, the highest across the country, the documentation was prepared by the Wada administration. But they made sure that Wada didn't get it. You know, Wada was still in power after Buhari took over. In a demonstration of bitter politics, they made sure that Wada didn't get it because they felt he would use it to contest election. Now, you've given it to someone now. You've given it to Bello. And Bello has not bettered a lot of our people. Rather, our people are subjected to endless verification exercises. Pensioners don't get paid. There's a pensioner who told me that he's being owed 21 months.
21 months.
People who have served their country for years.
Want to die.
You know? And that man told me that he's not the only one. That on the list, the last time I went for verification, he was number 246. Just look at it. Just picture it. Number 246, old men and women lining up. They've not been paid for 21 months. They are lined up there in the sun. Chances are that some will drop dead. You see, because this is the way it is. Even after Buhari approved payment to airway staff, a few of them died even that week. So people will die. When they are not paid, they don't know how to send their children to school.
You don't know where the next meal is.
When poverty diminishes people up to a point, they will choose death over life.
So
they will choose death over living.
This is a typical example.
Yes, they will choose death when poverty diminishes you up to a point.
As a man, you can't.
You will choose death over living. Because the question to ask is, what is it? What is life about after all? What is in this life after all?
I have my first caller. Thank you for joining us.
Hello?
Yes, good evening.
My name is Mohammed. I'm a first-time caller from Kaduna.
Mohammed, welcome to the show.
Welcome, thanks.
Yes, I really appreciate the work you're doing there, especially to Babajide.
Thank you.
The analysis you gave on the issue of Maina, I think some of us that have a bad mind against him, I think we need to have a change of mind, because we thought he was a thief. He has stole the pension fund, but we never knew what all the effort he has put in place to work for the federal government in recovering of some of the mutual funds.
Yes.
So I think we've really got some of the facts that happened about Maina.
Thanks.
So, well, I think it's a very wrong approach for the government to restate him back to his position when EFCC have not done his work. So I think if Maina is so proud that he has not stolen the government fund, he should go and face EFCC and defend himself.
Yes.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mohammed. I think that's the beauty of the program. We just bring out all the facts and allow you to
what
make up your
other
mind.
People are not talking about.
This is not a firing squad that would sentence people to death. We give you
know the thing is
the other side of it.
When we had this Baru and Kachiku matter, you saw the position that we took.
Yeah. Many
people wanted to hang Kachiku and chose to conveniently forget the issue of governance that I was talking about.
And other issues that he raised.
Other issues, you just continue to abuse him, especially on Facebook and other things. You ignore the facts. This man is saying, can we have a situation in our country whereby a GMD of a NNPC will on his own just drop contract proposals and then go to an internal tenders board that he heads and have it cleared, and just go straight to a president who has no time to oversight the sector and give the president to sign. There's nowhere you can encourage that kind of thing. And then people were just fruiting and making all kinds of statements that as if Kachiku committed murder. So at the end of the day, they went into the issue of, it's no contract. Even the vice president, too, was forced to say, these are not contracts. But we know that by the meaning of contracts, and those things were contracts. They also say, those JVC, they are not, it's not about money and all that. They don't have value. It's ridiculous the way we argue in our country. Because those JVC stuff, they have value. Once you know the currency exchange rate in your country, nobody just lifts crude oil at random now, because the contract will show how much that you are going to lift. And with that, you can actually determine the value.
Yes. Babajide, I want us to go back to Kogi State, because I know our viewers, we have a lot of viewers and fans from Kogi State. And
they don't see the video. of the civil servant whose child is one of the videos trending the most in our country now, and even beyond our country. The man could not raise money to pay for medical services on his daughter, and he watched the daughter die. Why couldn't he raise money? Because he had not been paid. We have a governor who went before our president and came out to say he was owing 2 months, only for his own head of service to say 10 months.
10 months.
That this particular one.
The next day.
They condemned the story about this director. That, because it was 11 months that was written there. But the head of service admitted that he had not been paid for 10 months. So, which means the head of service has contradicted what the supplementary governor.
Is it possible for the governor not to know what he's paying out or what?
He knows it took tons of cash, hard-hand cash in Kogi State to place wishy-washy adverts in newspapers. I think leadership. Money that he could have used to pay people's salaries, he wasted it on newspaper adverts
to do
defending the indefensible. You see, if you pay people, some of them will call in on our program to say, look, I received my own alert.
Yes.
So that is the thing. Yeah. So you don't need to waste money because you can't deceive Nigerians through newspaper adverts. When you are owing people, you can't.
Your last thing.
And you know, one funny thing, I'm sorry, I'm sorry to use this, to draw this analogy, but look at the situation in Kogi and look at the security situation in Kogi, whereby, kidnapping. Kogi is now regarded as
kidnapping capital of Nigeria.
Kidnapping capital of Nigeria. Because of the crime rate. The crime rate has increased because of poverty. Because of poverty.
So what is driving that? I'm not saying that.
Let me quickly take this caller. Thank you for joining us. Hello.
Yeah, hello.
Yes, thank you for hanging out with us, Idris. I wish I have somebody from Kogi State, but
thank you very much. It's Idris from Yola.
All right.
Yeah, I thank you guys for this good job.
You
see, the issue of this Kogi State is quite unfortunate that I don't know what Mr. President will do to that young guy that's called Bello. If something is not done, it's quite unfortunate that the image of the president, the way he moved into the presidency as if they are the ones supporting him up to pay the people in Kogi State is too bad. Somebody is not doing well. The whole state is shouting. Everywhere in the whole country, they know that of Kogi as the worst state in the country. And they have been saying it for too long, that what anybody can have in any state is to have Bello as governor and Dino as senator.
Yes.
These things contribute, and look at where people are dying. And President is still happy with this guy, still moving at will and come out and be laughing. And he's getting total salary.
He's posting funny pictures.
Quite unfortunate.
In Batman dress. An adult wearing Batman dress. Ayo.
It's as if they asked you to choose between the devil and the deep blue sea.
No, the thing is, what a combination.
When you have Bello, a governor,
and then Dino, a senator. Batman dress. And he's showing himself dancing with
ballet with
Russian ballet dancers and all that. What is the meaning of that?
He put it on the social network.
It's Omo tendency that is demonstrating. When you put a man where he does not deserve to be, when fate puts a man where he does not deserve to be, it is still that fate that will resolve the aberration. It is still fate that will resolve the aberration. Dino and Bello constitute the worst aberrations on our political landscape.
Wow.
And time will sort them out.
We have to move on. Lagos is one of the sister states in Nigeria that are calling for true federalism and devolution of power. 12 years ago, Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu took the initiative to take the demand beyond public oratory and convened a meeting to meet minds with his colleagues. Today, Governor Akinwumi Ambode is repeating history as he hosts 17 southern governors to press home the same demands. The Times seemed apt with a popular debate about strengthening Nigeria's democracy, attaining a crescendo. Will this meeting yield anything this time? Emeka, it goes like this. We have the Southwest governors, always meeting maybe quarterly for regional integration, and we have Southeast governors
And the South
meetings separately. But this time, this is the whole Southern governors coming
17
together.
of them.
17 of them. But we know we have, I think they are northern counterparts.
And 19.
They are always meeting.
They never stop meeting.
They are always meeting.
Since
And
this,
it's
yeah,
so what is happening down south?
Oh, yeah. I actually attended the last meeting that was held in Benin, 2001. And I saw the tension, the undercurrents, and all of that happened in Benin then, and the role that Asiwaju Bola Tinubu played in trying to get his colleagues to agree on the issue of fiscal federalism. Interestingly, at that time, Sharia was really hot in Nigeria. But unfortunately, the president then, Obasanjo, was accused of using one or two governors to scuttle the momentum, generated by this Southern governors meeting. Interestingly, one of the governors was very close to Obasanjo and was accused of being the major force that scuttled the meeting. But unfortunately, his own ambition to become president later also floundered. The same Obasanjo.
I'll be fair.
So now, what are we talking about? The northern governors have been meeting periodically, pushing their own agenda. Meanwhile, at that time, some people accused the southern governors of stirring up hatred against the north. Meanwhile, at that time, the issue was resource control. The South states were talking about,
offshore,
there was this issue about, onshore, offshore, littoral, what was the littoral state and all of that. But the federal government now hastily went to the Supreme Court to stop the states. At the end of the day, back and forth, the same federal government, as the years went on, now look for a roundabout way to negotiate the case out of court. Because he saw he had no case. It was even going to be disgraced at the Supreme Court. So I'm happy now that the southern state governors are coming together. But I also wish they'll use the opportunity for peer review. For those of them who are owing salaries, those of them who are owing pensions, those of them who have become misfits in governance. Because that was one of the things the Nigerian Governors Forum talked about some years ago. They said they were going to use that peer review mechanism to remind each other, that they are accountable to the people. Well, it appears that peer review mechanism has been hidden under the table. So I hope that tonight when they meet, they will also remind themselves, those of you who are owing workers, please, it's a disgraceful thing. Go and pay workers.
But actually, this same thing, they said a political party went to a state to go and campaign, and the governors calling for change. That's 4 of those governors calling for change. 6 of them
they are owing workers.
In
a state where the governor is paying.
You are calling for change.
Has even increased salary.
What a big irony. So what should the southern governors be doing now?
I think beyond even the issue of paying salaries, because let's not imagine that once you can pay salaries,
that makes you a Superman.
A successful governor. No. It goes beyond that. And when you even look at the issue of the philosophy of utilitarianism, which talks about happiness of the greater number. The greater number is not in civil servants. The greater number is in the ordinary people, artisans, other people,
can access your infrastructure,
law-abiding people,
schools, healthcare.
So governments do not exist for civil servants alone. They exist for everybody. So how can these governments, these southern governments, come together and forge integration and greater harmony amongst themselves? Because there are things that they can do together. For example, look at even this Lagos-Ibadan Expressway. I know that the bearded Osun governor once suggested that the southwest states can come together and fix that road. Because, look, that road is crucial to the economy of the states, around here. So they can come together and do it. There are other things that they can do together. Because when you go to the
Lagos now, we don't have land. So you can start your agricultural district.
Instead of going as far, you can go to Oyo. What are they doing with land in Okeogun? It's the food basket of the southwest. So instead of going as far as Kebbi, for example, and there is a disused dam, you know, several decades old in that Okeogun area. So I think that they can actually come together.
Let's quickly take this call. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you, sir.
All right, go ahead with your contribution.
Okay, sir, based on what you have...
Oh, Shegun is calling us from Kogi State.
Yes, sir.
All right, go ahead.
Okay, based on what you said concerning our state, not the only the man that you heard about that died. There was a woman too that heard about our children got admission, two of his children, got admission to a state in Kogi State University. And once you got the news, the woman too died because we had nothing to pay. Wow. Level 14 officer too.
Wow. Can you imagine?
That's what is happening in our state. We need God's intervention. The God should touch the heart of our government so that we do the better thing for the citizens of Kogi.
Thank you, Shegun.
The Lord bless you.
Thank you. You can see that one was not reported.
Yes, a lot of these things, a lot of what is happening don't get reported.
Level 16, level 14. Now, what about level 1, level 2?
What do those ones who have no reason to leave? Those ones who have no reason to leave. I said it before now that in Kogi, life is cheap. But people are dying. People are starving to death. People are dying.
And crime rate is on the increase.
So how can you, just pray that you don't fall sick when you are broke, when you don't have money? Because if you fall sick, you have no means of taking care of yourself. You have no means of taking. You can't even fuel your car and take the car to the nearest medical center. In any case, what is even happening in those medical centers? So what the Kogi is unfortunate. I know that this governor can only do one term. I'm very certain about that.
that one is...
Dino's senatorial seat is already vacant. Ahead of the next election, his senatorial seat is vacant. The governor's seat ahead of the next election
it's just
is already vacant.
There won't be election in Kogi State
yes, until
2020.
Yeah, so that is the dilemma. So with the people and already...
Will they face this kind of...
his talks have been beating up the lawmakers in the state assembly. So those ones cannot muster the courage to impeach him. They are even compromised. They beat them up, serious beating. So how do you now muster the courage to come? So our people, we can only pray for our people now. The people in the presidency who imposed Bello on the people of Kogi, I know that they are regretting it because I spoke with a top person in the government and he said Bello was a mistake. He told me.
So talking back to the Southern Governors meeting, I hope Governor Akim Mbade will also bring in something he said some months ago about turning Lagos to a smart city. Because look at Dubai, for instance. Dubai is now even going from being a smart city to developing blockchain government, you know, whereby things move seamlessly, you know. And that's the knowledge economy of the future. If the governors can actually start thinking beyond just like BKO talked about.
Remember what happened between them and Kano? Those Kano state commissioners, they came together to share ideas and all that. So I think that should be encouraged.
And their wives, and the wives of Southern governors met sometime in May in Abeokuta. You know, so I don't know what came out of that meeting, but I hope.
So we'll just encourage them to continue.
All right.
For the good of our people.
Thank you so much, Emeka Madunagu. Thank you, Babajide Kolade Otitoju. And that's it on Journalist Hangout. Join us tomorrow for another interesting episode of the program. You can watch the repeat tonight on all our platforms as displayed on the screen. That's DSTV 418, Go TV 45, and every other platform you can see on the screen. You can also watch Journalist Hangout on, showing on YouTube. That's youtube.com/TVC News Nigeria. Our feedback channel is Journalist Hangout at tvcnews.tv. I'm Ayodele Usubakun. Goodbye for now, and God bless Nigeria.